All right, the time has come. My early Oscar predictions for Best Actress. Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender. I'm very excited to talk about my favorite Oscar category today, Best Actress. Hoo boy! Like, we have some major contenders for this category this year. Let's start with Mikey Madison and Anora. So if there's one sure thing in this category, it's Mikey Madison. Like, she is happening. I still think she is the front runner right now in the category, even though we haven't had a lot of nominations yet, a lot of ceremonies. We don't really know how this season is going to shake out in Best Actress. I have my feelings, like about what's going to happen, who's going to get in, who might be snubbed. But I just feel like Mikey Madison gives the performance of the year in what I think is the movie of the year. I think what's going to help her a lot this season, not only get in everywhere, but potentially win a bunch of things, is that she's in such a strong film. Sean Baker has made a masterpiece in Anora. This movie blew my mind at the Toronto Film Festival. I can't wait to watch it again. And I just love everything about her performance. I feel like the reaction to this movie, to her work in the film, has been incredible. And so, yeah, Mikey Madison is getting the Oscar nomination. Will she win Best Actress? That is up for debate, to be sure, because she is very young, she is very new. I mean, she's been in some things, but like when someone is under 30, it's hard to get super confident in the win. I don't know. I still think she can pull it off because she's in such a great movie and she is the whole show. Like, she is front and center in that thing. So I would love to see it happen. I think she deserves to win the Academy Award for Best Actress. But even if that didn't happen for whatever reason, she is 100% getting the Oscar nomination. And then the other person I think is basically like sewn up for the nomination, she could also win, is Angelina Jolie for Maria. I still haven't seen that movie yet. Like, I'm slacking off, guys. Like, I haven't gotten any screeners or anything. Any film I didn't see at like the Toronto Film Festival that hasn't opened nationwide, hasn't dropped on Netflix. Like, I'm getting nothing. Like, I haven't had an opportunity to see Maria yet. I really want to. I would love to give you a review, tell you what I think of her performance. I'm basing this off of what everybody has said over the last few weeks. People have been saying it's not like the greatest movie of the year, but she is spectacular in it. Like, she is Maria. Like, she's supposed to just give one of her very best performances. It's been a long time since the last Oscar nomination for Angelina Jolie. She is overdue, I think. And being a part of a movie where she's playing a real life person, she is the sole focus of that story. It just feels right to me. I think she's 100% getting the nomination. At this point, I do think if there's one person who can overtake Mikey Madison to win the Oscar for Best Actress, Angelina Jolie makes the most sense. I mean, she is going to have a narrative, to be sure. Now, she has won an Oscar before. In Best Supporting Actress, about 25 years ago, she won the Oscar for Girl Interrupted, so she has a trophy there. She also has won an honorary Oscar, so it's not like we have to necessarily give Angelina Jolie a third Oscar trophy, but she hasn't won Best Actress. And this is something that happens here and there with our very best. Like with some of the big movie stars who have only won in supporting, sometimes we feel like, let's give Angelina Jolie a Best Actress win too. Now, I have to see the movie to give you my full assessment, but like, she's getting nominated. That would be the shocker of Oscar nominations morning if they announced the 5 nominees for Best Actress and Angelina Jolie was left off the list. I would be pretty surprised by that. I do think at this moment she is in the top 2 and could potentially win. Now, the third slot I still think is going to Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. Even though that film dropped recently on Netflix, and has been bashed a lot online. Every time I look on like Twitter and things, people are just attacking that movie. I don't know how that's going to affect the film moving forward into award season. Maybe it won't have any effects. I don't know. Like, some people are predicting Emilia Perez to get like 10 Oscar nominations. I don't think it's going to do that well. I think it might underperform on Oscar nominations morning. It might not get into every category we think it will. Like Best Director, I'm kind of torn about right now. I'm not sure if it gets like a screenplay nomination. But as of now, Best Picture feels pretty safe. It's a very original movie. As I talked about in my review with Ryan Castleman a couple months ago, I liked the film. I didn't love it. In terms of all the movies I saw in Toronto, Emilia Perez is in the bottom half. I haven't thought about it that much since September, but I feel like a lot of people really do love it, really do love all of those performances. I was most taken with Zoe Saldana, who I think is still going to be very competitive in Best Supporting Actress. I don't know if she's going to win everywhere, but like, she is pretty much a lock in that category, I would say. And Carla Sofia Gascon gives a very impressive performance in that movie. It would be quite a unique, interesting, very well-deserved Best Actress Oscar nomination. I could see her missing. When it comes to the Golden Globes, she's going into musical or comedy. I think that's going to Mikey Madison. And then we have Critics' Choice and SAG. Something that scares me about the Carla Sofia Gascon Oscar nomination is like, I'm not sure she's going to win anywhere at the major televised precursor ceremonies. Like, if she's losing everywhere to Mikey Madison and Angelina Jolie, even if she's being nominated at Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, SAG, maybe BAFTA, I don't know, and the movie is fading in a certain way. Like, it's not doing as well in the early part of award season like we thought. Best Actress this year is so crazy competitive, I could see her potentially dropping off. That is not outside the realm of possibility. Some awards voters might say, you know, we'll give Zoe Saldana a nomination in Supporting Actress, but we're gonna go in a different direction for Lead Actress. Like, that could happen at this moment. I still think she gets in, because she's one of the few actresses I'm talking about in this video today who's in a film that's going to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I think that helps Carla Sofia Gascon, as opposed to some of these other women I'm going to talk about who are really, when it comes to their movie, like, the only consideration at the Oscars for their film is Best Actress and nothing else. Not Best Picture or Director or Screenplay or anything technical, just Best Actress. That puts you in a very vulnerable position. Whereas you have Carla Sofia Gascon, who's in a movie that's probably getting into picture, probably going to get a minimum of 4, 5, maybe 6 Oscar nominations. That helps her because her movie is going to be watched a lot, being considered in a variety of categories. I think that's why, at the end of the day, she is going to secure that Oscar nomination. But again, she could miss, and I'm not going to be surprised necessarily. So those are the main 3: Mikey Madison, Angelina Jolie, Carla Sofia Gascon. I think they're getting in at the Oscars. I'm pretty sure. But when it comes to slots 4 and 5, it's a bit of a free-for-all right now. I would say there are 7 women battling it out for those 2 slots. These 7 performers I'm going to talk about in depth in a minute. Before I get to the other 7, let me just run through some of like the alternates, like people out there who are in films that people are liking, giving performances that are getting acclaim, that I just don't think have a shot at the Oscar nomination, even if they show up in some precursor ceremonies. I don't think they get in at the Academy Awards. One of those women is Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. In terms of her getting in at the Oscars, I just think the movie isn't strong enough, even though she's very good in it. Like, I believe that film was under 90 minutes. It was very brief. And she's got some notable scenes, and again, it's the best work she's ever done, to be sure. But, I mean, maybe at SAG. Maybe. But I am not predicting that right now. I think Pamela Anderson might get in at Golden Globes, and that's where the awards train for her stops this season. June Squibb for Thelma. She is glorious in that movie. I would love to see that Oscar nomination happen in a different year. Like, maybe she could be somewhat in consideration, but kind of like Pamela Anderson, I think June Squibb's win would be getting in at the Golden Globes. I feel like that's going to happen. I think she gets that 6th and final slot in comedy or musical. That would be really cool because, I mean, what is she, like 95? I think she just turned 95 years old. She got the first leading role in a movie in her entire life at 94, 95. I mean, that's awesome. So I think her reward would be a Golden Globe nomination. But that film, as fun as it is, it's kind of frothy. It's a bit forgettable. I don't think she could get in at the Oscars either. I adored Florence Pugh in We Live in Time. I thought that was a fantastic performance. Like, it's very moving. She has one scene in that film, like just in her delivery, like over the course of a minute, I found myself tearing up, and at the end of her speech, I nodded and like the tears started flowing. Like, she gives an excellent performance in that movie. And I'm not even sure she's going to get a single major nomination this coming season. I don't think she gets in at Golden Globes or Critics' Choice. Like, I think Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield are going to be passed over for that movie. And it's too bad because I think they're both really good in it. And she would be deserving, I think, of some nominations, at least like prior to the Oscars. But sadly, I don't think that's going to happen. Challengers is one of my 5 favorite films of 2024. I would love to see that movie get in at the Oscars in a variety of categories, including Best Picture, including Screenplay, and technical categories. I would love to see Zendaya get an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, but I just think some of the enthusiasm for that movie has faded since April from many out there, and because the category Best Actress is so competitive, I think the one place Zendaya can make it in is at the Golden Globes in Best Actress, Musical, or Comedy. I'm predicting that to happen. I think she can get in there. I think the movie can get into musical or comedy. So, I mean, I'm hopeful that happens at least. I don't see Zendaya and Challengers going any further than that. I think it's just going to be a Golden Globes, and then we'll call it a day. But I really adored her performance in that movie. I wish she could be nominated elsewhere, but it's not looking good. Lily Rose Depp for Nosferatu. That film finally started receiving screenings recently. I'm hearing she gives a phenomenal performance in that. We have all been kind of waiting for Nosferatu, like Robert Eggers, Christmas Day. Is this going to be an awards player? Like, can it get in at the Oscars beyond, say, a technical category or two? I don't know. I'm hearing really, really good things about the movie. I didn't see a bunch of notices of like one performance that's like, oh my God, like this performance in Nosferatu. Give it all of the trophies. I didn't see any of that because it's a horror film. It's a vampire movie. I think what that movie gets at the Oscars, if it receives anything, is a handful of technical nominations. Like, I don't see Lily Rose Depp getting in for Best Actress, especially with all of the competition. That would be surprising to me, but maybe she shows up at a precursor ceremony somewhere in Best Actress. I have to see the movie. It's coming out, in like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. I cannot wait for Nosferatu. It is one of my most anticipated films at the end of the year. But yeah, horror, as we have seen year after year, it's really hard to get into the acting categories for that genre. And The Room Next Door. The Room Next Door, Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton. What is going on with those two? That is a film I very much admired at the Toronto Film Festival. Like, I gave it a glowing review. I very much enjoyed their performances. I felt then, I feel it now. The one place that movie could have gotten in at the Oscars was Best Supporting Actress for Tilda Swinton. I think if you nominate one of those two women from that movie, it is Tilda Swinton. Her performance is a little bit more memorable. She has a bit more to do in that story. But when it was announced she was going lead, I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't know if she's even going to be nominated at the Golden Globes in Actress in a Drama. Like, I think she can miss that. Even in a field of 6 at the Globes, I think she might be snubbed for like Pamela Anderson or someone else. And so, like, if she can't get in at the Globes, why would she be nominated at the Oscars in a field of 5 for actress? I mean, maybe she gets in at BAFTA, maybe she does show up at the Globes, even Critics' Choice, and we are all, like, underestimating Tilda Swinton. She is an Oscar winner. Like, she won Best Supporting Actress for Michael Clayton a bunch of years ago. And like, she's playing a dying woman. It's a very emotional performance. She is rock solid in that film. I feel like it is not like impossible for Tilda Swinton to surprise us on Oscar nominations morning. It's like, there's like less than 1% chance. I feel like it's very minuscule. If there is passion for that film, like maybe, but I am not seeing that right now. I think if Swinton were going supporting actress, I would be predicting her to be nominated at the Oscars in that category. But in Best Actress, especially with her splitting votes with Julianne Moore, I just don't see that happening. All right, that takes me to the final 7 to fill slots 4 and 5 in Best Actress at the Oscars. I have 7 more women to talk about. I think any one of these 7 women could do it, could make it in. Like, we're all going to have our different like reactions or different predictions. Like, some of us are going to think it's going to be these 2 women. Other people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Of course not. It's going to be these 2. Like, there are going to be a lot of disagreements about this in the weeks moving forward. It'll be interesting to see who gets in at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice as the season goes along. We will get little snippets like to go, oh, maybe that person is out. Maybe that person can get in. I very much believe in my heart the final 2 slots are going to be one of these 7 women. And speaking of the hearts, it's kind of breaking right now, guys, because I have decided to drop Saoirse Ronan and The Outrun. Even though I have been a big supporter of that movie, going all the way back to January where I saw it at the Sundance Film Festival, like, Saoirse Ronan's performance in The Outrun is one of her very best. I feel like she deserves a Best Actress Oscar nomination for that performance. If you're going to nominate her for Atonement and Brooklyn and Lady Bird and Little Women, her 5th nomination should be for The Outrun. It makes sense to me, and it's kind of like an awards-friendly performance. She's playing a recovering alcoholic. Like, she really goes to some dark places in that narrative. The ending is so emotional, so cathartic, and she is the entire show of that movie. It is all Saoirse Ronan all the time. Because she has 4 Oscar nominations behind her, I feel like she definitely has a chance. Like, I'm never going to say, she's out. If she can get 2 big precursor nominations, like if she can get in Best Actress for The Outrun at Golden Globes and BAFTA, let's say. If she can get in there, even if she were to miss, let's say, Critics' Choice and SAG, but she got in at Golden Globes and then she got the BAFTA nomination, like, it's definitely possible. The Academy loves her, and this is one of her finest performances. I still can see it happening. What gives me pause is that even though she was promoting this movie all around the world, going to festivals, she won a prize at Telluride, I feel like the movie did not make any mark when it eventually opened theatrically. Like, I heard nothing. Like, it kind of opened and then it went away. I think it's on VOD now. And so, like, I wasn't expecting The Outrun to be like a blockbuster film in theaters, of course, but it really was quiet. And so I'm like, they're going to need to do a major push here, like a big awards campaign. The other thing is, I feel like some awards voters might say, we're going to give Ronan a nomination in supporting actress for Blitz. Like, she's taken care of. We'll give her that. She doesn't need to get into Best Actress as well, especially in a crowded field. So, like, I mean, I wanted to come on here today and say that 4th slot is going to Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun. I would love for that to happen. If she were to make it in, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to be so excited for her because I just dig that performance. She's so great in that film. I just feel like the momentum isn't on her side right now. And outside of some surprises in the weeks to come, I think at the Oscars, she's going to barely miss in actress. Sadly, that's what I'm feeling at this moment. Maybe I'll change my mind in a few weeks. I don't know. These are my early Oscar predictions for Best Actress. I just feel like there are a couple other women who might overtake her at the end of the day. Next up is Amy Adams in Night Bitch. What is going to happen with Adams in that film? I have gone back and forth on this ever since I saw the movie in Toronto. I was not super hot on that film, even though I very much admired her performance in it. I do think it's her best work since Sharp Objects 6 years ago. And kind of like Saoirse Ronan, the Academy adores Amy Adams. And I feel like because she has 6 nominations behind her, and that it's a Searchlight movie coming out in December, that's where I'm like, Like, even though I feel like the film overall could be stronger, she's really good in it. She's got some really fantastic scenes. Like, there's probably at least 4 or 5 Oscar clips. It's a big and bold performance, and if awards voters can look past some of the weirder elements of the narrative, like as Matt Naglia talked to me about in our Golden Globes predictions video, he was like, every mom is going to vote for Amy Adams. And I kind of agree with that. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to go to bat for that performance. I could see her getting in at Golden Globes, maybe Critics' Choice. I think she's going to get in at SAG. I think Amy Adams in Best Actress at SAG is going to happen because she was nominated there for Hillbilly Elegy a few years ago. Like, they really love Amy Adams at SAG. I still feel like in this moment, she's not going to go past SAG. I think she gets snubbed at BAFTA and she gets snubbed at the Oscars. The Oscar nomination doesn't happen because I just don't think the movie itself is very strong. It's kind of confused tonally, especially in the second half. And even though she is doing really good work, she could still easily miss the Oscar nomination. So I am not predicting that right now. Like, Amy Adams is not going to win at Golden Globes over Mikey Madison or Carla Sofia Gascon. Like, she's not going to win at SAG. So I feel like if she can't get in for a rival, like, how is she going to get in for Night Bitch, a movie I don't think is going to be considered for any other Oscar category? Like, screenplay, picture, technical, like, I don't think Night Bitch is going to go very far. If the movie were great, and I thought it had a chance of getting into Best Picture, screenplay, and other things, then I would be leaning toward Amy Adams to get in at the Oscars, but right now, even though I still think there is a path for her, she could still do it because she's Amy Adams, right? Like, she's Amy Adams. And this is her first really fantastic movie performance in a long time. So I'm never going to count her out. I just don't think it's happening right now. So, who is going to take the 4th slot in Best Actress? Let me give you my prediction right now. I had her in 5th place for a few weeks. And the more I think about it, like, I think this is happening. I don't even think it's going to be 5th place. It might be 4th. Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. I know there are a lot of people who don't have her in their predictions. They have her in like 6th, 7th place. I just think she is so great in that film. It is her most impressive performance in a movie since Rabbit Hole 14 years ago, which got her an Oscar nomination. She has received 2 Oscar nominations since, I think, for lesser movies, for lesser performances, and Baby Girl is just an outstanding movie. Everything about that film works for me. It is my number 2 choice right now for the best films of 2024. It knocked my socks off at Toronto. I loved every minute of it. And I feel like because Nicole Kidman is such a workaholic, she shows up in 1,000 things, like movies, TV shows. Every month, it seems, there's something new with Nicole Kidman, and we can take her for granted at times. We forget just how monumental of an actress she can be with the right material, with the right director, with the right character. Baby Girl gives her that, and it's just one of her most exciting performances we've gotten from Kidman in a long time, like a very long time. I feel like when awards voters discover Baby Girl, they're going to want to nominate the great Nicole Kidman. Even though you could argue, well, Brian, you just said that like Amy Adams and Saoirse Ronan might not get in because their movies aren't being considered really in any other category at the Oscars. Baby Girl, you could say, like, that's really a Best Actress play for Kidman. I will admit, even if Nicole Kidman does secure that Oscar nomination for Best Actress, that might be the only category Baby Girl shows up in on Oscar nominations morning. Even though I think it should be considered for Best Picture, for Original Screenplay, for a couple technical categories. The 2 men in that movie are spectacular. Harris Dickinson and Antonio Banderas for supporting actor. Like, I would love to see Baby Girl get like 3, 4, 5 Oscar nominations, but at the same time, it is probably just going to be a Best Actress play for Kidman. I just think her work in that film is so strong, and the movie itself is really great. It's such a better movie than The Outrun, and especially Night Bitch, I would say. That is going to help Kidman, even if the movie doesn't show up in any other category on Oscar nominations morning. I think Kidman for Baby Girl is happening. She has been everywhere the last few weeks, promoting a variety of projects, mostly TV projects. Like, she's really getting herself out there because she has to know. Like, she has given one of her very best performances in the movies. Baby Girl is an all-timer film. I will be so sad if Kidman were to miss for that. No matter what happens with that other slot I'm going to talk about, I think there's room for Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl, and I am predicting right now that she's getting an Oscar nomination. All right, 4 women left. 4 left to talk about, 1 more slot available. Who is going to receive that 5th slot at the Oscars for Best Actress? Okay, let's talk about Cynthia Erivo in Wicked. I have felt the last few months we could be sleeping on that. I felt like if the movie is just spectacular, everybody loves Wicked. It does extremely well at the box office with critics. She gets in not only at Golden Globes, but maybe at Critics' Choice too, maybe at SAG as well. Like, she starts showing up beyond the Golden Globes. Like, she does get competitive long into award season. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Cynthia Erivo could get the last slot in Best Actress for Wicked. If that movie is just adored the world over and no one can really decide like who gets that final slots, I can see it happening. She's a previous nominee. She got in a few years ago for Harriet. I think that helps her. I'm getting the sense that Wicked is going to be nominated at the Oscars for Best Picture. I think that also helps her a great deal. I have not personally seen the movie. I'm just days away from checking it out. I'm going to an early screening. So I will have a review of Wicked for you very shortly. I have to see the movie to make the final judgment. I mean, I've heard that the real standout performance in that film is Ariana Grande, who might get into Best Supporting Actress after all. We shall see. Because Supporting Actress is very wide open, I could see them giving Ariana Grande a nomination there. But in Best Actress, because of the intense competition, Cynthia Erivo misses barely at the end of the day. I think that's what's going to happen. I do not see Erivo making it in at the Oscars. I think she gets in at Golden Globes, maybe Critics' Choice. I could see her missing at BAFTA. She probably misses at the Oscars. But she could also get in if there is enough enthusiasm for that movie, and there's just too many pockets of enthusiasm for different women. Like, some people want this person in, some people want that woman in, and Cynthia Erivo just kind of like bypasses them in those final weeks and gets the Oscar nomination. I could see it happening. I'm not predicting it right now, but I'm very excited to see Wicked. I will let you know what I think in the days to come. Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. This is the sleeper, I think. This is the performance that could sneak up on us. I very much believe in my heart Fernanda Torres could pull it off. She gives an outstanding performance in that movie. It's also a great film as well. It was the one standing ovation I was a part of at the Toronto Film Festival. I saw 20 films there. It was the only one where the entire theater, like everybody in the audience, stood up and applauded the director who was there. And like, it's not in my top 10 of the year. It is kind of slow at times. Fernanda Torres gives a very interior performance. She's not big and loud and like has 10 Oscar clips throughout the movie you can pull from. It's not that kind of performance. So I feel like in a crowded field, she could easily miss. But I also feel like I'm Still Here might be more competitive in other categories. If the Academy really goes for that movie, like it could get into Best Picture, maybe. It could get into Screenplay. It's possible. And if that were to happen, I would have my eye on Fernanda Torres taking that final slot. Now, I looked at Gold Derby the other day, and it has all of the experts like predicting their Best Actress nominees. And I think only one or two people even had Fernanda Torres on the list. So nobody is really looking at her. But I think we need to. I think she might be the sleeper here. She could absolutely get that Oscar nomination, and it could come kind of out of nowhere. If she gets in at Golden Globes and BAFTA, she has a shot. If she were to miss one or both of those, then I would say probably not. But if I'm Still Here can be competitive in other categories, watch out for Fernanda Torres. Her mom, Fernanda Montenegro, got an Oscar nomination for Best Actress in the 90s for Central Station. That was a very small film, an international movie. So like, Torres has a path, and I'm not predicting it right now, but it's not impossible. Demi Moore, The Substance. Demi Moore. We all want this Best Actress Oscar nomination to happen. What a moment that would be. I would lose my shit if on Oscar nominations morning they announced Demi Moore for The Substance in Best Actress. That would be one of the all-timer inspired Oscar nominations of the last 10 years. I am rooting for it. I want it to happen. That film is in my top 10 of the year. I think both Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley give two of the best performances of 2024. But like, my heart has broken before when it comes to the horror genre. These kinds of films, these kinds of performances rarely get recognized at the Oscars. And like, I remember walking out of Hereditary in June of 2018. And I said, that performance by Toni Collette is one of the best I have ever seen in my life. And for months, I was like all on the Toni Collette awards train. I wanted it to happen. I knew it was a genre film, but I just thought she was undeniable in that movie. It's still one of my favorite movie performances ever. And then what a womp womp that was in the early 2019 award season. I think she got in at Critics' Choice and the Independent Spirit Awards, and that was it. I could not believe it. I was like, did any of you watch Hereditary? What the hell is wrong with you? She deserved 100% an Oscar nomination for Best Actress. So, like, that really broke me. That really made me sad. And then we had Lupita Nyong'o for Us. She did not get in at the Oscars. A year after that, we had Elizabeth Moss in The Invisible Man. I thought she was extraordinary in that movie. Nothing. And so I think The Substance is going to do fairly well this season. I think it's going to do well at the Golden Globes. I think it's very well possible Demi Moore could be nominated at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice maybe, and even at SAG. It's possible. She has a narrative, to be sure. She has been around since the 80s, and she has never given a performance like the one she gives in The Substance, which I do think is probably her best film, like in her entire career. So if we were ever going to give Demi Moore an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, the time is now. This is that moment. I would love to see it. I think I would be more excited for Demi Moore to get in on Oscar nominations morning more than any other person in any other category. Trust me, I want that to happen. And if it does, I am gonna go frickin' nuts. You are going to want to watch my reaction to the Oscar nominations because, like, if I hear the name Demi Moore, you are going to see a side of Brian Rowe like you have never seen before. I am just going to freak out, be so excited. But here's the deal. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that film is just too far out there. It's too weird. It's too gruesome. That last 20 minutes, I'm just like, I don't think the Academy is cool enough to overlook a lot of those genre elements and give a nomination to that movie in, like, Best Actress. I just don't see it. I think it's very well possible, after all of the acclaim and praise for that film, months and months of everybody on Twitter and elsewhere saying, like, give it all the trophies, I could see The Substance only getting in at the Oscars in makeup and hairstyling, and that's it. That's all she wrote. That's what I am preparing myself for, to be honest. I don't think The Substance is going to get like 5, 6, 7 Oscar nominations. It very well could. I would love to be proven wrong. Like, again, I would be so over the moon excited if The Substance could get into like Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actress, Supporting Actress, Screenplay, Makeup and Hairstyling, maybe another technical category. That would be amazing. I would be so happy. And so I'm kind of like living in both worlds now, in that I am not predicting Demi Moore gets the Oscar nomination for Best Actress, but if it does happen, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm sad now. I should have predicted that in my early Oscar predictions video back in November. I'm not going to care. I'm just going to be so happy for her. Any nomination for Demi Moore this entire award season is going to be so great, so memorable, so well-deserved. But right now, I am not predicting that Demi Moore gets that Oscar nomination. My early prediction for Best Actress at the Oscars, in that 5th place slot, I am going with Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. This is the performance that really snuck up on me at the Toronto Film Festival. I was prepared for her to do good work in that movie by Mike Leigh, but I was really bowled over. This is a huge, like a colossal performance from Marianne Jean-Baptiste. The first hour of that movie, she is going off on every single person she bumps into, like in her daily life, going to the store, going to the dentist, the doctor's office. Like, it's one Oscar clip after another. It's a very impressive, big, bold, amazing performance from Marianne Jean-Baptiste. She is a previous Oscar nominee for another Mike Leigh movie, Secrets and Lies, in the 90s, and she has done good work throughout the years, but she's never had a lead role in a movie quite like this one. And I was unsure for a while about her chances because Hard Truths is being distributed by Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street. They have not had a good track record of getting their actors in at the Oscars. I looked it up earlier this morning. Only Trumbo and Captain Fantastic has gotten Oscar nominations for acting from a movie distributed by Bleecker Street, and that's like almost 10 years ago. You look over their slate for like 2023, 2022, 2021, and like their movies did not really get in at the Oscars at all. They had Mass in 2021, my choice for the best film of the year. And I mean, talk about 4 incredible performances, and that film couldn't get in at the Oscars, so that makes me a little nervous. If Hard Truths was being distributed by A24 or Sony Pictures Classics or something, I would feel more confident, but it sounds like they're giving it a limited release run at the end of the year. It's going wider in January. It is a Mike Leigh movie. Mike Leigh has been adored by the Academy going back decades. I think that helps her chances a lot. And just like the boldness of her performance, how big it is. Like you don't walk away from Hard Truths and say, oh, you know, she was fine. Like she is electric in that movie. She is extraordinary. And I feel like she's going to get in at the Golden Globes. She's absolutely getting in at BAFTA. I feel like Marianne Jean-Baptiste might miss at Critics' Choice and SAG. But if she can get in at Golden Globes and BAFTA, I think she's getting the Oscar nomination for Best Actress. I could be wrong. I'm not overly confident about Marianne Jean-Baptiste, but I have been leaning in her direction for a few weeks now, to be sure. And as of now, in November, I think that's happening. I think she deserves that Oscar nomination. I think she's going to get it. So I hope you had fun, like watching me dig into this category, all of these potential nominees. What an exciting year it is for Best Actress. There are so many contenders, so many people to talk about. I'm not sure if anyone is going to predict this 100% because there are so many people battling it out for those 5 slots. But as of now, my early predictions in Best Actress at the 97th Academy Awards in alphabetical order by last name are Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Hard Truths, Angelina Jolie, Maria, Nicole Kidman, Baby Girl, and Mikey Madison, Anora. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below who are you currently predicting to get into Best Actress at the Oscars, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.